let's talk about the calls from Google reps. Should you take those calls? Why are they calling? It seems like as soon as you set up a Google Ads campaign, or even if you've had one going for years, you're going to get a call from Google or an email from Google. And sometimes it seems very urgent, like something's broken, or sometimes there's some sort of optimization they want to tell you about or a new product. What's your experience been with those types of calls? Is that something, especially in self-storage, is that something self-storage operators should take that call?
I think I always kind of tell people when we're doing activations, I say, hey, you're welcome to take those calls. I said, just take them with a grain of salt though, because the idea is they're usually third party. They used to just be Google. Now they're third party individuals that call you, and they're really trying to just get more ad dollars going in. And that's why we build our software, is to try to not overspend. So I think one thing a lot of people should think about is that if you have someone like us already doing your pay-per-click management, like we have our own account rep.
Right.
And that's who we talk to all the time about, what's upcoming, what's going on, what are the next tips and tricks. So for the most part, they can be ignored, especially if you're working with someone that's managing that. They already know what's going on.
It seems like the recommendations they're making are usually pushing towards more automation, towards more of the automatic bidding and some of those more like AI powered things, which are good for a lot of industries because it can help kind of spread out the types of keywords you're going after and find new pathways for discovery. But with self-storage, it feels like that isn't really what we want to do. And in fact, it's usually fighting that to try to keep that intent, keep those keywords focused on the things that matter.
Yeah, 100%, because you and I talk about this all the time. We do a very focused amount of keywords we're going after. So when you're recommended to turn on any sort of expansion or things that go out of what we're really trying to target, it can put you in a rough spot where, you get a lot more impressions, or maybe you can get a lot more clicks, but are they actually looking for self-storage or, mini storage, or, the specific terms we're going after? You start to get into a spot where you're like, wow, look at all this, engagement and traffic I had, but rentals aren't going up.
Right.
So,
I remember that one you showed me where Google was recommending the keyword we already had was RV storage.
Oh, yeah.
Which is perfect. But the recommendation was to add the word RV store. And there was also RV parking was a keyword, which is good. That can mean storage and parking and long-term parking. But it was suggesting RV parks. So RV stores and RV parks are completely different keyword intents than RV storage and RV parking. But if you imagine if you had auto recommendations turned on, which is another thing those reps will push, right? Just go in here, hit this switch, and all the recommendations will just get automatically, put into place, which might sound great, right? I don't have to deal with this anymore. But it's going to take your keywords, it's going to take your campaign in a weird direction. One day you're going to look at it and like, why am I bidding on these keywords? Well, you start to look under the hood and you've had those things turned on, and all these keywords start to creep and turn into clicks that you don't want. That's probably the biggest warning with those calls, is do not let them make changes on the call. And they'll try to do that, right? I'll just go ahead and change this for you. It'll save you a lot of time. Say, thank you for the recommendation, and I'll consider that later.
Especially in like secondary and those tertiary markets, where let's say you're 1, 2, 3 locations, and you click on, auto apply or, some sort of maximize. We'll sometimes use some maximize clicks if it's a little bit lower budget. But, like maximize conversions are a real gray area right now. We have some operators that use it, but not all. But when I've noticed, like when you're in like secondary and tertiary markets, it can really hurt you bad because there's a lot less volume. So it's going to make all kinds of liberties, as you always tell me, in what the interpretation is, which is what you were talking about with that RV stuff.